I mean, if you're a collector, then it's a non-stop thing, and you have to always constantly be on the lookout for that stuff, because you just never know when something's going to pop up that's super rare and hard to get. So I start off my morning, coffee and eBay.
Rock Dudes 47 is presented by BRÅVALLA Festival. Welcome to Rock Dudes 47 and a new international episode. And the guest this time is Josh Rand, the guitarist from the American metal band Stone Sour. Josh Rand is together with Corey Taylor, one of the founders of the metal band Stone Sour. They grew up in Des Moines in Iowa. When he started to be interested in music, he started out as a bass player, but later on he switched over to guitars. Stone Sour was actually founded in the middle of the 90s, but they released the first album in 2000. He is also a big fan of the heavy metal band Metallica, and he collects a lot of things of the movies Star Wars. During this episode you can listen to how it is to share a frontman between two huge metal bands, Stone Sour and Slipknot. Josh is a real down-to-earth and calm kind of guy that has a lot of things to tell from his almost 20 years of career in the metal business. You can hear all of his stories in Rock Dudes 47. Enough talking from my side. Let's start the interview with Stone Sour's guitarist Josh Rand.
Rock Dudes! But yeah, I'm gonna try to go out. We actually have a day off tomorrow.
Good.
I see you wearing the Metallica shirt. They're like my favorite band. So actually, I'm going to get on a train and go up to the Cliff Burton Memorial.
Oh. You've been there before?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
so, yeah, I've been trying to get up there. And since we have a day off, yeah, that's what I have planned.
You're going by yourself, or is Corey with you?
No, Corey's not going to be with me. Our tour manager assistant's going to go with me. Initially I was going to go by myself, but then I didn't realize how far it actually was, and then everybody's like, well, we can't just let you drive, which is probably not a good idea anyway. I've never obviously driven over here, so, and to go like 5 hours, I guess, or whatever it is, but I'm going to take a train and then grab a car up there. So I'm kind of excited and nervous at the same time, you know.
Can imagine.
Wow. Yeah, have you seen pictures from there?
I will take pictures. You know, I'm really weird when it comes to that stuff. So, I mean, I'll more than likely, I'll just keep that stuff for myself, you know. So,
is he a big inspiration for your kind of music, I mean, or as a musician?
He's huge to me, not only as a player, but I think the other impact that he had on me as a kid, and it's hard not being able to actually talk to him and stuff like that. But I always loved the idea of, was like, this is who I am, and kind of that whole, you know, screw you mentality in the way that he dressed. It's like, hey, I play bass, you know, I can wear bell bottoms, I can wear a jean jacket. I mean, he dressed more like he was in Lynyrd Skynyrd than a metal band. And, you know, it was just the music that was important to him. And I kind of embraced that on House of Golden Bones with wearing the tuxedo and the bow tie, where it's like, okay, there's this just, you have to dress like this, you know, and I kind of went against the grain. And so I think he kind of impacted me in that way of, it's more about the music and not what you wear, and just, I can do kind of whatever I want, you know. But as a player, I started out on bass guitar and then went to guitar. So I learned all the Metallica stuff. It's basically how I cut my teeth in playing, you know.
So what do you think about the last album, if you just mention that?
I think it's great. You know, I think this far in their career to be able to put out a record of that level, and to be honest, I think all four bands that get lumped into that big four put out great records. I think the Anthrax record's amazing. You know, Slayer did a great record, as did Megadeth. Metallica, you know, I love the production on this record. I wish Death Magnetic sounded like this record sounds.
Yeah.
But I think some of the best songs that they've written in a very, very long time are on this record. Moth into the Flame, Halo on Fire. It's a solid record.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really good one.
I'm guessing you met the band as well, right? Friends with them?
I'm not friends with them. I mean, I've met them over the years, and actually we were doing some press last week, and Lars actually came in to Beats One in the U.S., and we had no idea that he was there, and nobody else was there. It was kind of weird. It was just I arrived early before the rest of the guys got there, and he's like, knocks on the door, hey, what's going on? And then, I mean, it was like I was starstruck, and I've met him before, but it was just like not expecting to meet him, kind of just really caught me off guard. Is like, and he just sits down like it's nothing, but I have met them. All of them are super nice, and have treated me very well. So that's cool. I've been very lucky. Like everybody that's inspired me has been pretty awesome. Whether it's been the guys in Metallica or Paul Gilbert is kind of the reason why I switched to guitar. And the last time that I ran into him, he knows I'm a big fan, and I've always, for almost 20 years talked about how he's influenced me. And he's like, he actually gave me one of his personal guitars that I actually used on the recording of the new album. So, everybody's been cool.
So you actually get starstruck? Huh, funny.
I still do. I have this weird thing in the back of my mind that I feel like the day that I can't, if I lose being a fan, then I kind of shouldn't be doing it anymore. So I get excited over, of an album coming out still, or being able to meet somebody, and I've flown around or drove to shows that surprises people. It's like, wow, when I met Paul Gilbert, I flew all the way from Des Moines out to LA to watch a Mr. Big show, or at the end of last year, drove 4 hours to go watch Dream Theater and talk to John Petrucci. So, I mean, it's just crazy to me. As a kid, I've kind of been able to still keep that. I get excited, and it's just like surreal to me that I can talk to those guys now. It's like growing up and having posters on my wall or trying to learn songs that those guys wrote. And now it's like I can text John Petrucci and ask him what his guitar setting was, which I did actually when we were recording this record on his new Mesa Boogie amp. So it's surreal to me.
Have you thought about the opposite though? People like looking up to you, seeing you, being starstruck, meeting you, and copying your kind of music or influence?
I'll be honest, it's weird for me because I don't see myself like that. So, and I'm very grounded, and those that are the closest to me make sure that I stay that way. So, but with that being said, I try to always, if anybody comes up to me, I always go out of my way to talk to them. I've never have turned anybody away. I mean, it is a little weird because, as I said, I don't see myself like that. But at the same time, going back to how the guys that I look up and how they have treated me, it's very important that I continue that with anybody that feels that way with myself.
Mm-hmm. Is it more like that today than it has been for like 15 years ago?
It's weird. I mean, sometimes, I can go, obviously we've been on this big break for 4 years, and it's like I've been at home in Des Moines and nobody says anything. And then all of a sudden it was like literally a couple weeks ago, it was like everywhere I went, everybody's like, when's the new record coming out? Like, it's like, where are all these people coming from? Nobody says anything to me for 3 years. I go to the store and everywhere I went, there's like, do you got an extra guitar pick? And it's like, it was weird.
Well, why is that though? Is it because the album is popping out in a couple of months, or?
I think so. And I think people are excited about it. It's like we've been away for so long. I think sometimes people, you don't know how someone's going to react to, if you say something. I'm very approachable though. So, but I'm always a man on a mission. So I probably don't look that way. Like, I go into the grocery store to get stuff and it's like, I don't want to be in there all day. No. I know exactly where everything is and where I want to go. And I'm just like, so I think it's a mixture of things, but I think now that, the hype of the new record and people truly are excited, is why I'm getting more of that.
But what do you actually do for like 4 years? Huh? We were on a break. Seeing like...
For me, it was a rough 4 years in my personal life. I don't want to go into it too much, but 2 years of pretty challenging times. And then just writing for this record, I actually went back to work a regular job that I did before before Stone Sour. Like, one of my closest friends owns a sign company and neon and all that. And since I was kind of struggling in my personal life, I was like, well, I think the best thing for me to do would be to go ahead and do that. It was like adding structure back into it. And plus, I had grown up with everybody that worked there. Even though it'd been 10 years or 15 years since I've been there, everybody that was there, it's just a small, family-owned company. And so I did that for about a year and a half also.
So that was good. But one thing is, because Corey and earlier Jim Root have been playing in Slipknot as well. Have you been struggling with this kind of issues in the meanwhile when they are touring?
I look honestly as the breaks as being a blessing. Maybe 15 years ago, when the band first started out, I would have felt different. But now I look at it as, for one, it gives us more time to really craft whatever the next record is and the vision, and not just automatically being thrown in, getting a month off and going, okay, we got to record a record. And then also, I think it's important to have a break from one another. Every time we come back to do a record, it feels like it's the first record, if that makes any sense. It's like I'm rejuvenated, and it's like it's all new again, and I'm not burned out. I'm not, I got to go do this and that. It's like, it's just fun again, because I've been away from it for so long. So I really have looked at the break as being more of a blessing than a curse.
Yeah. That's a good, because there are many bands that you read about today is just touring and just get back for a couple of months of free time, but then they go into the studio and record a new album and then out on the tour again. So they really don't have any time to reflect and recharge yourself.
Well, and I don't want to take anything from those bands or come across the wrong way, but I think by us also having the break, it allows us to expand musically.
Yeah.
If all you're doing is playing every night and you're playing the existing set, you're going to go into writing that next record, especially if you're under pressure of kind of almost the same thing. You don't get those, months to experiment and to really craft something new. Our record's a perfect example of When the Fever Broke, the last track, or Saint Marie, that's a country track, you could argue. It's like, if we were constantly touring and then thrown right back into recording, I don't know if those tracks would happen. Like I said, because you're playing the same stuff that you've already written, and the reality is this: if you're a band for a long time or have some history with you, if you're playing and on tour every day, I doubt you're getting on days off together to write a new record. I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
So
Probably, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we'll slap each other's faces instead of...
Yeah.
Look, what's going on in Desmond, Iowa? What's in the water over there? Because like two of the biggest bands is coming from that place. Is there a bigger scene now since 15 years ago, seeing it you start out?
I don't think so. I think both bands, obviously they have one thing in common.
Yeah,
they have one person that's pretty special. So, but with that being said, they're also very different. You have a metal band that's really what they do. I don't know anybody else that does it. And then you have us in Stone Sour, which what we do is we're a very diverse band that has no limit. We're a rock band that has elements of everything. So I think, maybe that's what makes it special, and people gravitate towards, because you had the brutality of Slipknot and what it is, and then the aggression, and then you have Stone Sour, which is more, I don't want to say melodic bass, but it's more, as I said, it's a rock band. It's kind of a throwback to all the bands that we've been influenced by, and kind of we combined it into one thing, elements of punk, classic metal, new metal, everything.
Is it challenging playing in Stone Sour? I mean, if compared to Slipknot, the aggressive sound and everything, is it more complex Stone Sour music if you compare it to those two bands? What do you think?
I don't think so. I mean, like I said, I mean, it's just different. They're different beasts. I mean, I'll be honest. Haven't sat down and learned a bunch of Slipknot songs.
You don't listen to Slipknot songs?
So, you know, it's different listening to it than playing it, you know. I mean, sometimes you can listen to something and, you know, I struggled on a song that we just recorded that's super simple, but for whatever reason, I couldn't wrap my brain around it. And it was just like this arpeggiated chord, and it was in Rose Red. And I don't know why, and it was driving me nuts. So you would listen to it and go, that's simple as shit. But for whatever reason, so from a complexity standpoint, I wouldn't say, I mean, I'm sure it's challenging in their own ways by different things, you know, whether it is the speed and the aggression of Slipknot or the diversity of being able to do different things in Stone Sour.
Excuse me, dear listeners, this will be a short commercial break to tell you a little bit about this episode's sponsor, BRÅVALLA Festival. BRÅVALLA Festival is one of Scandinavia's largest festivals. It's a great festival with a lineup mixed with dance, music, pop, hip-hop, rock and the really heavy metal acts. Some of the artists and bands are System of a Down, Linkin Park, The Killers, Sabaton, Baroness, Danzig, Danko Jones, Creator, Kvelertak, Mastodon and Raised Fists. You will find all the information at BRÅVALLAfestival.se. Thank you for your patience, and now back to the interview with Josh Rand.
Has there been any talks about touring together though in the future and talks?
No, that could never happen.
Because of
Corey could never
do both at the same time.
We've done, you know, we did 4 years ago or 5 years ago. We came over for a couple of the festivals, and both bands played on opposite days, and it's too much.
It is, yeah.
It's a different mindset for him, because it's almost a different. I mean, it's a different approach vocally for him between the two bands. So we kind of learned our lesson that it's just not a good idea to have both bands on the same bill, and let alone on the same day. That would be impossible.
Yeah, makes sense.
As we said, you are releasing a new album that will be called Hydrogad. And what does Hydrogad means?
It actually means nothing.
You made up a new name. That's cool. Wow.
I can't take credit for making up the name, but I'm going off of what I've been told. The story is Corey was on tour somewhere in Europe, and it was an older airport, and he was going to his gate, and it had, I guess, like the gate signs were like the old digital, like Memorex gate signs, and he walked by and he swore that he saw Hydrogad, and he kept walking, and then he's like, well, and then supposedly he stopped, came back, because he was like, where the hell is Hydrogad? You know, obviously came back, and it wasn't even close. He said it was like Milan or something. Just he was tired, and his mind like played tricks on him basically. But he loved the title, so he ended up just kind of putting it in the back pocket, and he's had it for a while. And then on the new album, we have the song Hydrogad, and we just decided that it's kind of open. I mean, it's really not a word, so it's kind of cool to have that with the diversity of the record to be the actual title of the record.
Did you have different working titles though on the album, except ending up with this one? I mean,
no, I mean it's really always been Hydrogad from day one.
Mm-hmm. So after this album comes out, people were going to
use this word
more. And often.
Well, we've heard all kinds. I love when people come. You know, we're on this press tour, and people have had their idea of what it is. Whether it's, we've been told, you know, it's, you know, always obviously with hydro in it, it's a water thing, or somebody said that it was like going to be like the new home base for the Avengers, and just all kinds of crazy stuff.
Hydrogad is the new black. You're a Hydrogad, dude. What?
It's pretty fun.
Yeah. Josh told me.
Yeah. When you listen to a record, the first couple of three songs is very much the sound of Stone Sour, and it's really great ones. But then when you listen to further one, this is more dynamic and it's more different kinds of styles. Was it meant to be like that from the beginning, or was it through the final cut of which songs?
Well, I mean, we always try to write the best songs that we possibly can. You know, I'm sure the similarities that you hear with the old Stone Sour, like you said, it's in the beginning, which is Type A Personality, which is a song that I brought in. So it's like, that makes sense. You know, all of us contributed musically. So that's where we kind of get the diversity from, because all of us are inspired by different stuff. Literally, we went into this record trying to make every song the best that it possibly could be. There was no, I guess, pre-notion that we would make it this way or another way. And that's what we did. I mean, it was really, recording this record was simple. I mean, it took us like a month to do the core tracks. Everything came together. I mean, we had demoed it over a year and a half in these little like week breaks in between everybody's schedule, between Corey doing Slipknot, Johnny Chow doing Cavalera, Roy doing Ministry. And we just slowly started collecting all these songs. And then we had a really good idea of what we wanted to do, which was, we just wanted to make a great rock record. And by doing so, we wanted to do it live, record it live, no click track, and sonically try to get the best sounding stuff without just, you know, using any digital stuff. It's all analog for them. I mean, we recorded into Pro Tools, but we used that as just basically a recorder, and we didn't grid anything or anything like that. And I think that's why this record breathes and feels the way that it is, because it isn't perfect. I mean, it pushes and pulls, and the imperfectness is what makes it perfect.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's the way that old records, I mean, we basically went in with the idea of we wanted to record it. We're a great band. We knew that we could record it live. That's how they used to do it. You used to have, you know, to be able to do that to make a record. So that was our approach going into it.
I mean, you put out a record 4 years ago. Have you seen differences compared to then and now? I mean, in the musical landscape, I mean, 4 years is it's a long time.
Well, obviously, I mean, the whole streaming, in that, on the business side, yes. Musically, nothing really stands out to me. It was like this monumental thing that changed, but obviously the change in physical music versus streaming and downloading is at a whole new level. Or I guess even I guess I could say with the resurgence of vinyl, because that really wasn't where it's at now, you know, 4 years ago, which is cool. I mean, I've started building a massive collection. When we did the cover EPs is where I kind of really decided, wow, vinyl sounds amazing. We were at Roy's and we were comparing Kiss, an MP3 versus the album, and it was just like how much the album filled the room and the separation. And after that, I was sold. I was like, I got to go to Amoeba in LA, and I'm like bought like 30 records. I was like, I need this record, this record, this record, and it's grown from there. So
you're a big collector?
Yeah, I collect the vinyl, I guess guitars to some degree, and guitar pedals.
So I'm guessing you got the biggest Metallica collection in Iowa, right?
I'm sure somebody's got. I'm really picky though, because I like everything to be perfect. So that in itself is already hard to do. And then I like official stuff. I have a really hard time with bootleg stuff, like you know, and they have so much bootleg stuff, it's crazy. But I like actually, you know, stuff from Vertigo and Elektra and Megaforce. I mean, I have a pretty good selection, but I mean, I have 5 different Jump in the Fires and stuff like that, and promos that are sealed, but it's not as big as I think most people would think that it would probably be, and it's just because I don't collect the bootleg stuff.
Have you come across any bootlegs of Stone Sour?
Yes, in Japan.
Really? Wow.
Well, it's crazy because there's like a DVD store that like they record. I don't know how they do it. I swear they have every live show ever recorded there. And it's cool because, I mean, the owner is like a huge music fan, and I went in there, and then they realized who I was, and they were like, hey, will you sign this like 10 by 10 card to us? And I did, and he's like, you can take anything you want.
Wow.
And as much as you want. So I ended up getting all the Stone Sour stuff that they had.
Of course, yeah.
I think I got like Guns N' Roses at the Ritz, you know, that show before they really took off. And yeah, I can't even remember. I had a ton of stuff. So every once in a while I'll buy bootleg stuff. It's South America. I bought a couple of bootleg shirts. I thought the designs were amazing. I was like, I'm taking these back. We need to make these. So
getting live bootlegs on shows, on actual CDs or DVDs or stuff like that?
However, you know, every once in a while, yeah, I'll get them.
Do you actually listen to them, though, afterwards? And like, fuck, I played wrong on this chord or whatever.
I used to, and then over the years, I've slowly... I'll put it in. I won't usually watch the entire thing. I used to, in the first couple albums, yes. So I would like do my homework and be like, hey, okay, that sucked. I really need to work on that or this or that. But of late, not really. I mean, I watched, we did a Nokia show live in the States, and that was pretty much it. I listened to that. It's not necessarily I'm listening for the maybe mistakes, but I just like to also listen to the sonics of stuff and making sure, you know, like I'll put it on, and that's maybe why I only listen to a song or two. It's like, okay, the audio is good enough that we can put it out. But then I'm also a big fan of that's just what it is in the moment, you know. So unless it's horrible, then usually we live with it.
Well, would you ever imagine back in the old days of being a kid playing music, finding a bootleg in Japan of your band, you playing? It's just it's a surreal moment, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's many of those moments. I mean, I still have it, you know. Even when we came over here, and as I said, having that 4-year break of, and I'm sitting there and I'm working on thank yous for the notes and, you know, for the album and stuff like that. And it's just like, wow, I can't believe we're still doing this like 17 years later. And it just progressively gets bigger every time we do it. So, I mean, it's crazy to me.
Do you have any favorite moments during your career? I mean...
being a huge Metallica fan,
yeah.
We played the Heineken Fest in Italy in 2002, which was basically their return for Saint Anger. So to happen to be there when that happened for their first show back, you know, when everybody for years, you know, was like, is the band done? You know, what's going to happen? Jason left, James is in rehab. So to be there when they had to do that show was pretty amazing.
Imagine if they would have called you and asked for you joining the band after Jason's departure. Would that be like a big dream come true? Obviously it would, but I mean, how would that affect? When you're just guessing or just hypothetical.
Honestly, if I got to play like a song with them, I would be stoked, and that's all.
That would be enough. Yeah.
That would be enough for me.
Yeah.
To me, it's those guys, and yeah, obviously to be in the band would be amazing. This and that. But I can't imagine the band not having Kirk, and you know, and obviously he's an amazing player, and you can make the argument that James is the greatest rhythm guitar player in hard rock and metal ever. So I mean, it's not like somebody you're going to replace. So
well, we're not replacing that way, but I mean, like adding something extra, perhaps.
So for me, just being able to jam a song would be pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Besides music, do you have any kind of other interest doing other stuff?
Well, right now I'm going through like this Star Wars phase of collecting. So that would be like my other major interest.
Yeah.
I just added like a life-size Darth Vader to my house.
Crazy.
It's soon to be a Kylo Ren, but yeah, I mean that's the main thing right now, and just collecting the vinyl, which is, I mean, if you're a collector, then it's a non-stop thing, and you have to always constantly be on the lookout for that stuff, because you just never know when something's going to pop up that's super rare, and hard to get. So it like every day I'm like searching all
on eBay or
yeah, eBay. There's a couple other sites that I check out, but you know, because I'm like between Metallica and I also collect Motley Crue. I mean, those two. I mean, there's a ton of stuff to get, and like I said, every once in a while, you know, something pops up that you rarely see, and it takes a lot of time before you're actually able to find it. So it's an everyday thing. That's how I start off my morning: coffee and eBay.
What's missing in the collection though from Star Wars? Like props or?
Star Wars is different for me because, you know, I'm actually now going after like the Sideshow. I don't know if you guys. It's a company that makes the statues. They're like 2.5 feet tall, super detailed. So I've been doing that. As I said, I added that life-size Darth Vader.
How expensive is that? Like, if I may ask, a statue of that caliber? I mean,
usually American, it's about $550 to $750. Yeah, a piece. And then we have a show in Anaheim, California called WonderCon, which is basically like an anime comic convention because my oldest daughter is an artist. So she wanted to go, which was like my first introduction to that. So I let her hang out with all her friends, and I kind of wandered by myself through this convention for 2 days, and I ended up finding this one artist that I really loved, and he had drawn some of the Star Wars characters, and so now I've started to collect some of his prints, which is pretty awesome. I ended up getting like the artist print or 101s of Darth Maul, Vader, and Boba Fett. So
that's nuts. I mean, wow, cool. So what do you think about the pictures though? The movies coming out every year in December.
I mean, I love it. I mean, how can you not? I'm on the fence with the Han Solo movie that'll be coming up, you know, eventually. I think that actually is next year.
Why is that though?
I just think because of Harrison Ford is so established as that character. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be really hard for somebody to come in and play that role. I mean, I'm not saying that the stories wouldn't be awesome. It's just he's such an iconic person and actor. It's, you know, I don't know. You know, unlike Boba Fett, the Boba Fett movie that's supposed to come out in several years later, you know, Boba Fett wears a mask. So, I mean, we can get away with whoever. It doesn't have to be Jeremy Bullock or whatever to play him. So, I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting. I'm actually hoping that they do like a Knights of Ren movie or some of the, you know, the Sith stuff, and not just, I mean, obviously Boba Fett is kind of I don't know if you would say that he's an evil character, but obviously he's not a good character. So I'm hoping maybe they'll do some of the darker characters in the story.
There's a convention going on here, a sci-fi convention, 2 times a year. They always attract some cast from the Star Wars old movies. So I've actually met, well, a couple of actors, which is funny, like Darth Vader and stuff like that. Have you met some of the people?
Actually, I have not.
Any of interest? No.
Well,
maybe.
I want to go down and do Star Wars Celebration, and like, I was like, I was so excited. I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it next year. And then I looked it up, and next year they're taking the year off. It's like the first time I was like, what?
That sucks.
Bad timing.
I think the reason why is because they're really working on like in a whole new amusement park thing down in Orlando.
I heard about that.
Yeah, so I think that's why they're taking next year off, because it'll probably be the launch for that for the following year. So hopefully I get to one of those. You know, whether I meet any of those guys, it would be cool. I mean, but I just want to experience the actual, especially after doing WonderCon, and you know, I've done the NAMM show, which is the gear show that's done in the States as far as for instruments. But to have that many Star Wars fans and have everybody dressed up and just the atmosphere, just see what the atmosphere is like, and
do you
see
dress
all
up?
these.
thought
we'll
about
see.
it?
If I do it, I mean, part of the Kylo costume that's coming actually is like built to my specs, so I can wear it. But we'll see.
Could be fun, right?
Yeah, I mean, it could be. It'd be interesting.
So for the future, are we going to wait another 4 years for a new record? What do you think?
Hopefully not. We're just gonna basically take it, I guess one day at a time or whatever, I mean, at some point Corey will definitely go back and do another Slipknot record and cycle. So, but we don't know exactly, I mean, what this record, what the lifespan is. I mean, we're planning on touring for a year and a half, We're really proud of it. We think it's very diverse. Actually, we think it is truly the best Stone Sour record that we've ever done. Yeah. So, depending on, on the people, I guess, that'll dictate how long we tour and how long till the next one.
How do you plan for going out like a year on tour? I mean, I'm guessing it's a lot of preparations and all that, but I'm seeing that you get a daughter and family and stuff like that. That's tough, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've dealt with it for the entire career of this band. My oldest is 18, so, it's not easy. But at the same time, they have, now they're both teenagers. My oldest is actually getting ready to go to college in 4 months. So, I mean, they also have their own life. So, I mean, it's difficult. I'm a homebody, but also they realize that that's what I do, So, and the reason, my number one job is to take care of them, and doing this also takes care of them to be able to go to school and to be provided for. So, I mean, it's, in some ways, it's no different than if I was like in the military. Not by any means am I saying what I do is at that level, because what those guys do is amazing, and I'm very appreciative of what they do. But, just sometimes you just have to do what you have to do to take care of the people that mean, everything to you.
They don't want to play music though, right? Your kid.
The oldest is an artist. My youngest is like on the fence. I think she's bounced around on different instruments. She's done drums. She's done bass. She wants to be in music. She's a very intelligent person. I'm pushing her more towards the business aspect of music. But we'll see.
Well, why is that though? I mean,
there's just a dedication that you have to have as a player. And right now she's just so involved. I'm not saying that she couldn't be in a band. And, but she also runs track, and she does all this stuff. I mean, cheerleading. I mean, her schedule's busier than my schedule. And, as I said, there's just a dedication, and I think in her mind, it's just, she can definitely build a career on the business side of it. She feels, I think, more confident, which is crazy. She's 14 years old, but in her mind, she's like, I have a better shot in the music industry on the business side than as a player. So,
more structure in the life.
Yeah. Well, the great thing is when you're on the business side, if that's really your passion and that's what you want to pursue, then, for the most part, you can go home to your own bed every day. Yeah. Me and Corey were just talking about that. It's like the dream would be to be able to play gigs and tour, but still be able to go home every night. So, I mean.
Now it's time for Rock Dudes 47's music top list. This time will be a top 5 signed by Josh Rand. The music top list will be published on our Spotify profile and homepage rockdudes.se.
What will be the first song?
I'm going to go ahead and go with Metallica, For Whom the Bell Tolls. The reason why I'm picking this song is they're my favorite band. Yeah. And it was also basically the first song that I learned on each instrument. I mean, I played bass, guitar. I mean, I'm known for playing guitar, but I did play bass and drums. And this was the first song that I learned when I played each one of those instruments. So, it's kind of special to me. I think it's still a burner to this day when, I mean, they play it and it's just got that march to it. It's an amazing tune.
Okay, then we have the second one.
I'm going to go with Dream Theater, Pull Me Under. The first time that I heard this song, I was in a car and it came on the radio, and it just, between the heaviness of it and the ripiness and John Petrucci's leads, I was just sucked in, and I've been a diehard fan ever since. So it basically started off, this was my introduction to the band, was this song. So,
and then we got to the middle of the list, and the third song will be?
I'm going to go with Kiss, Detroit Rock City. It's really my first favorite band. I guess I don't remember, but I could recite all the Kiss lyrics at like 3 or 4 years old. And there's like the oldest pictures that my parents have. I'm wearing Kiss shirts, and I was obsessed with them. So, you know, we covered one of the songs on the EPs with Love Gun. So they're a massive influence on myself and pretty much everybody in Stone Sour.
Cool. Then we have 2 songs left, and number 4 will be?
Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil. They were probably my second favorite band. It just something about the band. I love the I guess the party aspect of the band, and who gives a shit, and it's all about having a good time. And I picked this song because it's probably my favorite song by them. I think that whole record stood the test of time. I think it's arguably the greatest, if you want to put them in a category, hair metal album, even though I hate categories and genres. The song's just still as heavy today as it was 30 years ago.
Then we have 1 song left, and what will be the
I'm
fifth?
going to play the new Stone Sour, Fabulous, off of Hydrogad. Comes out June 30th. We're very proud of this record, and it shows more of the heavier side of what Stone Sour does.
And we have to end this episode. It was really interesting meeting you, Josh. And,
thank you.
And good luck with the record and the touring.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
Thank you for listening to Rock Dudes 47, where our guest Josh Rand from Stone Sour did tell us all about his experiences and all the stories about touring and more. The music top list that was in the end of the episode will be published through our Spotify profile and homepage rockdudes.se. Don't forget to follow us on our social media network as Facebook, Instagram, YouTube and Twitter. Search for Rock Dudes Podden. Please write some comments about this episode, or what you're thinking about this podcast, and which guest you want to be in our future episode of Rock Dudes. We will, of course, thank our sponsor, BRÅVALLA Festival. You can find all the information at BRÅVALLAfestival.se. The jingle was recorded by Jonas Hemmingsson, Peter Månsson, and Mia Colhart. The interview was recorded and edited by Jonas Löv. Next episode, Rock Dudes 48, will be published in a couple of weeks. Don't miss that. Until then, rock on!
Rock Dudes!